still thinking of the sacred and still mystified by that term. Not mystified because I know what it means, but I don't think I really know what it means. Or I'm not content with my understanding of it. So I want to see if I can address it through breaking it down in a way. And what I'm just thinking about now is, and I don't know if this is valid or not, I'm just imagining the idea that sacred is a mixture of, well, it's value combined with the idea of the sublime. That's how I'm kind of interpreting it for myself right now. Values powered by this, you know, the emotional feeling of the sublime. So I think I'll need to talk about the sublime in order to be able to get to that. There'll probably be 2 or 3 videos, I think. Sublime. Isn't that cow? Isn't that fantastic? The the sublime. I think Burke writes about the sublime, and Kant writes us about the sublime. And there's some interesting etymological things to say about the sublime. There's a lot of poetry, particularly kind of 19th century romantic poetry about the sublime. There's lots of again, art from the same period, paintings of the same period, talk about the sublime. I think it's a kind of sense, it's a feeling. I mean, some people might ascribe other kinds of qualities to it, but if I can stick to it just being a feeling for now. It's a feeling of, it's a kind of overpowering beauty mixed with terror. There's something terrifying about the sublime. Something, overpowering and overwhelming. So it's this mixture. It's fear that's so far beyond fear that it consumes you, and you're kind of lost within the kind of majesty of the potential for destruction or the potential for creation that this sublime event or sublime vision represents. So it's usually associated, at least from my understanding, certainly, yeah, from my acquaintance with it, it's associated with nature usually. A lot of the kind of 19th century painters and poets were very attracted to the sublime in nature, you know, so they would go and stand on the edge of craggy coastlines and look out at the storms at sea, you know, and just be met by this massive, huge, overwhelming vista of a storm, you know, just crashing and crashing. Or they would, wander across a heath, and so it's just huge, huge sky, glooming grey sky, of course, given that it's a kind of Western European English idea. Massive grey, glowering sky over you, like the wrinkled forehead of an angry god, just looking down at you. Or maybe even just the sky at night, you know, you're looking up in the sky and there's just this immensity of stars, which shrinks you down by comparison to a small pink dot, I suppose, on the landscape. And that overwhelming feeling you get, which is, you know, partly, there's something quite, it's compelling and kind of thanatoid, death-related joy attached to it, but also a feeling of being overwhelmed and lost and dissolved in it. You know, a lot of that. I think there's modern day equivalents to that. You know, you can't watch a show on Discovery Channel about space, you know, without these fantastic pictures of the Hubble Space Telescope. And, you know, there's just massive pictures of the pillars of creation, I think they're called. There's great dust clouds where stars are forming. And again, you get this sense of it being fucking whelming, you know, it's just so big. And again, you know, things like tornadoes, it's real kind of fodder for that emotional engagement. And those feelings are, as I say, are feelings of the sublime. At least that's how they're described. Something beyond beautiful. You know, you put beauty on a pedestal, but the sublime is so far above beauty, entering the realm of terror, that it's it's just the sky itself, really. It's that kind of sense, I think. Sublime. Yeah. So I think that feeling, you know, that feeling that you get, that feeling of awe, of being in the presence of majesty, of being consumed and overwhelmed, of being dwarfed in comparison, of being kind of rendered mute almost, to standing gobsmacked and awestruck in the face of this majesty, in the face of this, just the sheer bloody bigness of the whole damn thing. I think that's part of the sacred. I think that has some kind of relationship to the feelings of the sacred, particularly if, as I say, you mix it up with something to do with a value. You know, you attach a value to that. Like if you say human life, human life is valuable, you can say. But if you attach that to the idea of the sublime, then suddenly human life has a value which brings with it all these feelings that you get when you're standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon or looking out at the storm at sea. It has this, you stand awestruck in the face of the sacredness of human value, or anything else, you know, any other kind of sacred piece of idea that you might carry around, you know, the sacred link between yourself and the land of your forefathers, the sacred idea that science has the answer to all questions, the sacred idea that that God's looking out for you. Yeah, those kind of things. Maybe. Okay, so I'll make some more on this, but just about the sublime particularly. But this is the hypothesis right now, if that's what it is, that the sacred, S small a, equals V for value plus SU for sublime. Right.